going to be watching the newest thing that just came out, which is the Specialist Class Overview. Now, again, this is going to be a live reaction and a breakdown at the same time. So your guess is as good as mine as what we're about to be watching, but I'm going to dissect it using prior game knowledge of Aliens Fireteam Elite 1, and then just looking at the design philosophy as a whole and seeing what they're talking about and kind of what they're going to be covering. So let's get right into the video itself and see what they got for us.
Hello everyone, Chris Cross here, Design Director at Cold Iron Studios. We're excited today to showcase and talk about the new Specialist class, a brand new class we're introducing for Aliens Fireteam Elite 2 releasing this summer.
Alright, so it looks like we don't even have anyone from IGN maybe? I'm not sure yet. I don't recognize any of these people's names from the IGN unless it's someone new.
Here with me are Derek, Brock, and MJ from our development team.
Hi, I'm Derek Wade.
Yep, so it is everyone from Cold Iron Studios themselves, not actually people from the...
Hey there.
This is people from the actual Cold Iron Studios themselves, not the actual IGN themselves. So that's interesting to note.
Jay, QA tester, Cold Iron.
The Specialist is the pinnacle of where you can take your builds in AFE2. This is about pushing the end game and kitting out the ultimate soldier so you can clear the highest difficulties and defeat any challenge the game throws at you. Brock, can you tell us a little bit about...
Okay, so they're saying Specialist here is designed for endgame. So that's interesting. Now, the question is going to be, is Specialist designed as the endgame class and the other classes or the other kits are just there to give your Specialist a group of 4 Specialists? Or is it going to be you only allowed 1 Specialist? We'll wait and see if they say it here, only 1 Specialist per team comp. But if that's the case, that's going to be very restrictive. But at the same time, it's hard to say. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see here. Maybe in the video they'll tell us. But yeah, that's that could be either be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how they do this.
the Specialist gameplay loop?
So to build out your Specialist, you need to level up your other classes first. Playing as a Specialist increases your Specialist rank, which unlocks unique perks and items and gives you more room to tinker on the perk board. However...
Okay, so yeah, the perk grids are the exact same as we've seen before. Okay, over here we got Blast Wave. At least we can blast around. Yep, okay. But it only says knocking back weaker enemies. So, okay, so Blast Wave already might have been changed. So it says weaker enemies, so we can speculate that it means fodder enemies. I don't know if they mean the veterans, which are the specials, which would be your green enemies, and then your captains or your elites, which would be the orangey red ones. So maybe Blast Wave no longer affects the big guys here. It's interesting.
However, most of the...
let's go back here. We're gonna slow this down here. All right, here we go. Rocket mines. Replaces Titan rockets with proximity mines that explode when enemies get close. All right, so we have no idea what Titan rockets are. We could maybe allude that they are the Demos micro rockets, but they're just called Titan rockets now. And now that's that you can now cover the whole battlefield in mines. Again, we don't have any information on this ability itself other than what it says here directly in this description of the ability. But those mines might have a passive timer that decays, and when it decays, it'll explode automatically. Or you can do something where now you can have teams essentially not trigger a horde, and they can just cover the whole thing in mines beforehand, and then as they start the horde, the whole map could be already covered in mines, and it could just neutralize any type of threat because everything's going to die to mines before it even spawns. They could also chain react, and they could all cause every mine to explode at once, crashing the game maybe, and crashing the engine. It's hard to say here, but very interesting. Pretty interesting ability, actually. Okay, right here. Thermal Cannon. Augments the blast cannon into a shoulder-mounted flamethrower that leaves behind an incendiary hazard. Okay, so it's a shoulder-mounted flamethrower. We don't know what the blast cannon is. That's something from another class, maybe from the Headhunter class, I think, when he briefly showed us in the overview of the other classes, which we'll talk about here in a second here whenever he goes back to it. But it changes it into a flamethrower, and then it also leaves a pool of fire. So is it one of those things where you press it and it fires and you're stuck into that ability and you can't shoot? Or is this going to be one of those things where you can press it, the flamethrower goes out, and you can shoot and move around while it's using the flamethrower, cover the ground in fire, and then also keep interacting doing other stuff. Interesting.
Most of the...
Combat stims. This is from the other game. This is from the doc. Yep, it even says medic ability replacers. Grant 25 temporary health to nearby allies and reduce the cooldown of their abilities by 20%. Abilities used during combat stims also receive a cooldown reduction. Okay, cool. That's actually really strong. Combat stims, I like this right now. Before, it just gave you accuracy and stability and handling on your weapon. Now it gives you cooldown and temp health. So they've changed it kind of and reworked the way it interacts and functions. We don't have any timers or anything like that. It just is a basic overview of what it does, but that's pretty cool already. All right, here we go. Guardian. When defending an ally, you both gain 20 temporary health. The ally also gains 20% damage resistance for 3 seconds. When defending an ally, though. So the question here is when it says when defending an ally, does it mean when killing an enemy targeting an ally? If that's the case, then this is kind of like got your back and back in the fight, only instead of it reloading your weapon and giving you cooldown and things like that, instead it gives you temp health and damage resistance. Okay. Oh, that one was so quick.
Most of the
Okay, back to advanced trauma station. Ooh, we caught it. Okay. Place a medical station that restores temporary health to nearby allies. When out of energy, it will deactivate. Energy recharges over time or by killing enemies near the station. Okay, so this is just the normal core trauma station. It says advanced, but I don't see what's advanced about it. Maybe the killing portion, where if you kill enemies near it, you get it back. Hard to say, but otherwise, it just looks like the normal med station, trauma station that we saw from the gameplay trailer. All right, here we go. This is from Medic. Overclock. So Overclock used to be a gunner exclusive in AFE1. Here it says replace combat stims with Overclock, increasing fire rate for you and nearby allies by 100% and your reload speed by 100%. So this is exactly Overclock from the first game on Gunner, now built into the Medic. So now the Medic has a massive DPS boost to themselves, and then they can do it to their teammates. That means we might be able to get something like quick load interlink or something like that. The name escapes me right now, but that was also really good ability modifier that you could put onto Overclock on Gunner, which it auto reloaded your weapon and filled the mag up instantly, and also gave your teammates, your allies, the reload speed that you had access to. So this is really, really cool. It's interesting that it's on dock now, so it'll be interesting to see what the other classes and other kits have access to then. Okay, buffing station. Replace the advanced trauma station with a buffing station that grants 25% damage and 25% damage resistance. This effect lingers for 4 seconds after leaving the station radius. So no more healing, just DPS, baby. That's a lot of DPS too. 25% is a massive boost, and 25% damage reduction is also a lot to not. That's nothing to laugh at. That's a huge damage boost. Okay, there's some crazy stuff you can probably do with like a doc buff or a full doc team. Honestly, doc, you could probably run a lot of different versions of doc altogether because you'd have so many different access to things. Adrenaline surge. Okay, this is. I think this was a phalanx ability initially. But something else, called something else, or did something else, but replaces combat stims. So combat stims is one side, and then the trauma station is the other. If we're remembering it correctly, combat stims is right, and then the trauma station is left. So this would replace that, and then instead it increases your player's damage by 25%, the damage resistance, and makes them immune to knockback. Honestly, Depending on what other things we have access to, this one doesn't really blow me away. This one seems very lackluster compared to even just what we've seen already and everything else. So this one I'm not too excited for. Maybe there's going to be some crazy modifiers that this can also get access to and do some crazy combos. But this one, so far of everything we've seen, I'm not too hyped about this one. This one seems very, very lackluster because just damage resistance and knockback immune, unless there's an enemy type or a fodder type or something like that just constantly can knock players down, I don't see this getting a lot of value, so we'll have to wait and see for sure, but I'm not excited about this one as much as I am excited about the other ones. Poison Station, okay. Killing Floor 2 had something like this, and maybe the other Killing Floors as well. I only played the second one the most, but at least it just gives me that sense. But let's read it here. Poison Station deals damage over time to enemies. It has much higher max energy and gains a 5 times multiplier to any energy gained. So if it's based on how it recharges, or if you get kills, it recharges it. So does it have a... Is this station based on it has health that it can dish damage out to and that drains it? Or is it you can set it down, set it, forget it, and it just does damage over time? This is something to keep in mind as we get more information maybe, and when the game comes out we can test all this stuff. But this seems like a really good area of effect dot that you can set up and then weaken a lot of runners as they come, depending again on if it's if this has been scaled for the highest difficulty. We don't know what it's called, but if we use the same names from AFE1, so insane, if this is scaled to insane, this will be really, 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 really good. And depending on how they adjust the damage, it could scale on every single difficulty without being broken on one and weak on the other. So this could be an interesting one. Again, it gives us kind of like the trauma station with suppression station, but instead of slow, it just poisons all the enemies.
These and replacers need...
Okay, let's just look real quick here. We have Duelist, Mechanist, or Machinist, depending on how you want to call it, Marauder, Hunter, Medic, and Specialist. So Medic is exactly like probably from the first one. Marauder has the symbol of demo. Hunter is new. Mechanist or Machinist is going to be the same thing as like what our tech was. And then Duelist has the gunner symbol, but they're not gunner anymore, so it'll be interesting what they have access to. And then obviously our Specialist. So we'll go back to normal play speed now, and we'll kind of see what else they have to say. If we need to slow it down again, we will.
To be unlocked on your other classes first. Once I start unlocking abilities on my Duelist, I can bring them...
Okay, let's go back real quick here again. There's something else I saw. So Specialist here, we have heavy weapons and rifles, and then we have a sidearm service pistol.
On your other classes first.
But I thought I saw something different here. Marauders.
Once I start unlocking abilities on my Duelist, I can bring
okay.
those over to my Specialist to customize with. For example, I've got a level 10 medic. Everything...
Okay, so this right here, the M41A2 pulse rifle, yep, that is the normal pulse rifle we've seen from AFE1. And then like I had said in the, I think the gameplay reveal, that is the tactical shotgun, the Type 21, only this says Mark II on it, so it's a modified version. And you can see here it's unranked. So like I had predicted in the first video, different weapons may have access to elemental damage innately. So the Type 21 tactical shotgun has innate access to electricity, which means it has innate slows and then maybe stuns on synths, but for sure it has innate slows. So this is something to keep in mind when building classes that will have access to different combinations and combos that we can do for either different factions or also for just generic use.
I can do on my medic, I can bring that over to my Specialist and combine it with everything else I've unlocked on the other classes too.
If you've got all...
Okay, let's go back real quick. We're gonna scroll down and slow that down again because he goes over some of the other classes here. Back down to 25%. Let's just see if he scrolls it in to tell us it. Okay. Yep. Let's see if we can see it. Ooh, that first one was a little too fast. I don't think I had time to cover over it. There's a slight delay with it. Let's check it. That is tight. That is a tight window. Okay, here we go. We got it. Puncture. Dealing high damage to a specific spot on an enemy generates a new weak point. This can only occur once per enemy. Huh. A class that sets up weak point damage. Very interesting. We'll have to wait and see, but that's pretty cool, actually, making it so that you can shoot enemies in different parts, kind of like you're breaking their armor or the carapace around them, and thus allowing you to shoot different portions other than just the head. Particle Pulse, this is literally just Lancer, where it shoots 3, deals damage proportional to the charge amount. A full charge releases a shockwave at the impact site that damages surrounding targets. So it's different and been reworked. Instead of it firing 3 like it shows in the actual symbol, what it does is it shoots a charge shot, and then if you charge it, then it explodes in AoE. Very interesting. It could be very cool. Okay, looks like they're done scrolling, so we'll go back to normal speed then here.
If you've got all your classes leveled up, there's an embarrassment of riches to work with. What kind of specialists have you guys come up with?
I wanted to make something that...
Okay, here we go. Very important. This is really cool. So let's just take a look right now. This guy's got every class maxed out. I'm assuming level 10 is now maxed because it was 7 before, or 8. But something to note is we never saw a sidearm before. This guy has the Frontier Revolver. So it looks like they've moved the handgun slots from every class that used to be designated for certain kits. And now those weapons are now your sidearms. So you can actually bring a special sidearm that can be leveled up on top of your other primary and secondaries. So here we can see we have a new one, a revolver rifle. And we have the Flechette SMG back again, making a return. So that's really cool. And then we have cryogenic rounds, which they talked about, and vulnerability assessment drones, which are making a return as well. And this guy is maxed. Combat rating of 1200 and level 50. Is that character rank level 50? Interesting.
It was all about sending rounds downrange, so I kitted out something I call the Gunfighter. I combined abilities that have me spraying tons of lead, so I started with the burst configuration from the Duelist. The ability that gives you this huge experimental gun that's normally exclusive only to that class. And then for my secondary...
Okay, here we go. Okay, now we want to look at this here real quick. So he's kitted out crazy amount of abilities and stuff like that. I don't know if weapon perks are going to be back in this game. It's very hard to say. But let's see what this is. The Bodyguard. Deploy an attack drone that follows you and engages nearby enemies for a duration. Okay, very cool.
ability, I'm using the Bodyguard turret from the Machinist. That gives me a turret that flies around and is always doing damage to enemies.
It'll be interesting. Okay, it looks like it has a duration. Okay, the turret has a duration, so it just does X amount of damage. It flies around and shoots. Very nice. I wonder if it has a health bar too that it can be killed while also flying around. It's hard to say. We don't see anything that shows like a health bar, but the turrets from Tech didn't have it as well, but that's interesting.
Out with the Deadeye passive, so as long as I'm hitting anything, I'm getting...
You gain bonus stopping power and decreased recoil as you hit enemies. Okay, now stopping power, is that damage, or does it just mean that you have like stumble or like some type of stun built in? Very interesting. We'll have to kind of learn the vernacular that they use once we start getting further in.
Increased stopping power and lower recoil. And of course, for my...
All right, let's just take a look here at the this rifle. Shooting movement speed, negative 20%. Okay, so this is a lot more descriptive than in AFE1 with their weapons. They still have a lot of the same stuff. You can see accuracy, stability, damage fall off, damage per second. Interesting. They literally tell you the DPS of it. Stopping power, fire rate. So stopping power is something new then. So damage and stopping power are different. Stopping power's got to be the stumble chance, maybe. Let's just see if we can see stumbling real quick. No, I don't see any stumbling. So stopping power is literally the capability of stumbling or pushing an enemy back, then it looks like. Bullet penetration, that is also new, so that's cool. Weak point SP bonus, I don't know what SP means, but weak point damage bonus is 25%, so that's really cool. Critical multiplier, so now we have critical hits on top of weak point hits, so that means you can start building into crit builds. Crit chance 0%, okay. Magazine size, okay, that's normal. Fire rate is 150, but that could mean anything. Damage per second, it just says 94, so that must be how much damage it does here. It doesn't really just say damage. Interesting. Looks like we have star perks again. On the left side, you get an augment slot at level 4. Reload speed, solid purple, and Allen revolver rifle. I don't know what those do, but that is cool to see, and it's cool to see that we have... a new type of buff going on, which is it augmenting. And then here you can see again, it says damage type piercing. So like I said before, how weapons will have innate damage types built into them, it looks like. This one has piercing on it.
Weapons, I went with the revolver rifle as my primary and the Frontier revolver as my sidearm, because this build is the ultimate Xeno hunting cowboy.
Nice! Your gunfighter specialist sounds awesome. What did you cook up, MJ?
Check this out.
And the M10 auto pistol is back. Okay, this is a new one, the Dido heavy rifle, and then we got the smart gun. Okay. Pain suppressant, interesting. That's a new type of item. And adrenaline is also a new type of item. Very interesting. Okay. And it looks like we have blast wave and some type of either trauma station or healing ability with this.
I came up with something I'm calling the Paladin. I wanted to build the aliens version of the fantasy where I'm tanky and have a huge weapon, but I can also defend my team and heal them. I'm using
a blast cannon. Shoulder mounted cannon fires a concussive wave that deals damage and high stopping power, knocking back most enemies. So this is the normal blast wave kind of, it looks like. combined with concussive rockets, which was the modifier on Demolisher back in the first game. So you get a combination where they put blast wave and concussive rockets into one. So maybe it'll kill enemies on insane instead of just knocking everything over, but that is interesting to see.
The blast cannon ability, which gives me tons of crowd withdrawal, and I modded it to buff me with extra damage and defense. Then,
and this one shoots forward though, not behind as well. So that's good to note. Is it's a cone in front, not a AOE surrounding the player.
For team support, I went with the Medic's Trauma Station for heals and the Guardian passive. So whenever I shoot something that's attacking my ally gets healed. And then
okay, so yeah, so Guardian passive is like kind of like got your back with recon. So it gives you the temp health and the damage resistance.
of course, I wanted something that feels like a giant.
Okay, here we go. We can take a look at this and actually look at this weapon. Shoot at movement speed -60%, ADS movement speed -40%. Handling 0, crit chance 0, mag size 250, fire rate 857, stopping power per second. Stopping power is 6, damage per second is 126. Accuracy should be very high. It's a smart gun. We have some type of barrel on it, but they're not really showing us armatures and internal mags right now, which is fine because they want to keep that for us to get all the juicy bits later, most likely. Really cool. Nothing here to see really other than augment slot. Looks like, again, this is tier 4. Metallic Fade Sapphire. Maybe that's a weapon skin. Unless it does something else. So it looks like it's some type of trait, a skin. Then you have access to a buff to the weapon, and then it looks like you get an augment slot. Unknown if they're going to get special, nice little cool passives that a lot of them did at level 4 back from the first game, but it looks like they might have gone away with that, and now we just get augments that you're going to have access to help modify it.
Sword. So I went with the classic smart gun.
Wow, your Paladin is super cool. I love how you leaned into that Paladin trope. What about you, Brock? What's your specialist like?
I wanted to go big and loud.
Okay, and then we have a Kramer short barrel. That was from as well the first game. We got the classic pulse rifle here. So this is going to be the thing, as I had said before, when I was talking about it a little bit actually, is that this is going to be the actual classic. So either we unlock this, buy it, or however we get our hands on it. So this is probably going to have the underslung grenade launcher on it. And it looks like he has the rocket launcher back from the first game as well. This is the one that had 3 shots. I don't know if it'll be the same. But it's cool to see that the classic pulse rifle and the AFE1 pulse rifle are both in this game now. So that's really cool to see. Let's see what else we got. We got frag grenades and ammo supply kit. So ammo supply kit is interesting. That might be something you drop for the whole team. Frag grenade, you just throw it maybe. So it's like taking the gunner's grenade from the first game and now it's just a consumable you can use.
So I customized a Grenadier specialist. If there was a chance to use an explosive, I took it. Naturally, I'm using Titan rockets from the Marauder class as my primary.
Titan rockets, okay. Yep.
Enough said.
That is a massive explosion. That's crazy. I don't know if that's a charge up that you can do or if you can fire them and it's weaker. It's very interesting to see here.
Then I got the cluster grenade launcher from the Duelist as my secondary to really saturate an area.
There is a grenade launcher ability you can use on one of the things. Kind of like shock ordnance, but now it's actually an explosive. I wonder if that does friendly fire damage. I don't know. We won't know yet, but that's also very interesting to see that there's actually damaging abilities like that. Okay, so here we have Gunslinger he put on. Each enemy killed by an ability reduces its cooldown by 5% of its base cooldown. So if you do that's crazy. So if you kill, this is if you had the demo perk where every time you cast an ability based on your stacks you had, it would recharge your ability by that many seconds. This is exactly like that, only it says it's by 5%. So if you hit 10 enemies with that, that is a 50% cooldown. That's a lot. That can be really good if you do big AoE. I think this guy's actually cooking with this build a little bit, I'm not going to lie. Looks like we have maybe a actual weapon perk here. We got some other ones. Searing Explosion, Demolitionist 2, Extended Burn. Ooh, these are some interesting ones. We'll have to wait to see. But maybe that's a dock thing. That I don't know. It's hard to say. But yeah, I'm really liking that Gunslinger perk.
Whenever I kill enemies with my abilities, it lowers my cooldowns. For my guns, I'm bringing the classic M41A pulse rifle.
And that's it. Yeah, classic. There it is. It fires grenade launchers.
From the Aliens film, because hell yeah. And this time it has the underbarrel grenade launcher that we've always wanted. Obviously.
Okay, so he just fired that point blank and took no damage. So either they're playing on standard, they have friendly fire toggled off, which may also be damage to yourself, Or it means that there is no friendly fire maybe at all. It's hard to say, but I would say that we're on the hardest difficulty doing that then. And then he brought the M12A1. I don't know if it shows max size here. It says max ammo. Oh, yeah, max size 3. So this is the one from the first game. Damage per second, 147. Stopping power per sec, okay. Huh. That's got to be a typo of some sort or something maybe. Unless it didn't finish rendering and it's loading up right now as I paused it. But reload time, max ammo, weak point, crit multiplier of 50%. But it has, they have it swapped. So crit chances on the right side, the multipier's on the left. I was about to get really happy here, but weak point, damage bonus, negative 25%. So they actually punish you for getting weak point hits on this weapon. Weak point SP bonus. I don't know what the SP bonus means, but the point damage bonus is negative 25%. That's not good. That means they're encouraging you not to shoot them in the head with this and to actually shoot the ground or shoot at their body and go for body shots instead, if that is how we're looking at that. So that's very interesting. All right, let's continue.
For my second gun, I'm bringing a damn rocket launcher.
Let's look on the left again real quick. Metallic Sunset. Yeah, that was a skin from the first one. Trait. Movement ADS. Okay. And then, yeah, Augment slot again.
To quote Private Hudson, I'm the ultimate badass.
Wow. Hope you're not going to go too crazy if we've got friendly fire turned on. What about you, though, Chris? You're the game director. You better have made something crazy.
I got you covered.
All right, he said he got us covered. Let's see. The Jin personal railgun. Okay, that's already cool. The 99 incinerator is back. That's nice. Phosphorus grenades. Piercing supply kit, so you can give different ammo types.
I made my specialist into what I named the Elementalist. Damage
Holy moly.
types are a big part of AFE2, so I leaned
That perk grade is big and fat, by the
into
way,
making
too.
sure I'm always ready to counter any threat.
Okay, he has a cryo launcher. That's really sick.
Basically,
On-demand cryos
everything
is
my
sick.
Elementalist does is about covering a different damage type. I took the base particle.
Base particle pulse from Hunter. So the Hunter has a mix of Lancer abilities. Let's just read this, though. This is going to be really cool. I have a big smile on my face, actually. That's so cool. Because I was always talking about a freeze thrower in the first game, and we never got that. But this kind of like immediately hits that. So I wonder if there'll actually be a gun that does it too. But causes the fire a beam that freezes targets in place. Higher charge levels freeze targets for longer, and a full charge chills surrounding targets, slowing the movement speed and attack speed. Okay.
Beam from the Hunter
And if they're frozen, they usually take more damage.
and turn that into a cryo pulse, so I've got cryo damage. I took the combat stims
Combat stims gain 25 tempo and reduce the ability so you can spam more.
from Medic, which heals teammates and reduces cooldowns, but with mods,
Upon activating combat stims or its replacers, release an electric blast that slows and potentially stuns nearby enemies. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That is crazy, dude. Doc has some access to some insane abilities right now. That's all I'm getting out of this. This is crazy, and this perk grid layout is wild that he has access to this.
anytime I use that ability, I release a blast of electric damage too. I'm using the dual target.
Deal 10% more damage to targets recently damaged by abilities or turret items. So he does big AoE, and because the big shot counts as AoE, that counts as getting damaged. The big freeze counts as damage, or freezing them. Maybe it doesn't do a whole lot, but then they take more damage, and then he deals 10% more damage on top of it.
Getting passive, so I do extra
Nuts.
damage to enemies when they're hit by my abilities, and I'm
Oh, here we go. The first hit an enemy takes from dual targeting deals bonus electric damage. Holy
modded it
moly.
even more so they become vulnerable to electricity. For my primary guns, I'm rolling with a flamethrower, and for my secondary
Oh, we gotta go back. Hold on, I gotta see this.
electricity. For my primary guns, I'm rolling with a flamethrower.
All right, pause. I want to see this. Let's look at this here real quick. Okay, yeah, traits again. Orange cold iron maybe is what that is. Weapon maximum ammo augment slot. Okay, we got damage over time, so half a second. Max ammo, crit multiplier, but no crit chance probably. Yeah. Magazine capacity, stopping power, fire rate, effect duration list. Okay, so they even tell you what the effect is and the damage that's going to be on it. Okay, effect linger time is 1. I don't know what that means. Maybe it lasts 1 second, but then it says effect duration is 3, so maybe that just means it doesn't negatively affect how long the duration is. Effect SPPS. I don't know what SPPS
And
is
for
or
my
SP is.
secondary, I'm using the new railgun. which gives me piercing damage so I can counter any armored mini bosses. I'm using
Okay, so armored mini bosses are an actual thing. See, this is very important. So then piercing is going to matter on armor in this game, it looks like, as opposed to it just does a slightly more damage to them based on 50% of their health, which was very bad because notoriously you'd get value of like 0.05% or something like that whenever you brought armor piercing attachments in the first game because there was just no armored enemies unless you brought it for sense specifically. So that's interesting that it's actually going to have a lot more value maybe based on what he's saying here. We have the basic starting pistol.
AFE2's
Bullet penetration, crit chance, 0, mag, okay, whatever. Trait, service pistol, spray, aqua, weapon handling, augment slot. And then he has here, it gives you less stopping power, whatever, but incendiary damage that can ignite enemies. So now his pistol just does fire damage.
new sidearm system to customize my backup too. I took the standard M4 pistol, but used the new augment slot to give it
Yeah, okay.
incendiary.
There might be a
bullets.
crit-based one then.
But enough talking about it. How about we take a look at these incredible specialists in action?
Alright, we're just nuking, guys. Yep, we're shooting, we're shooting, we're shooting.
We can't wait for
Bless me, sorry, I had to sneeze.
players to get their hands on this new specialist class. And we're all really looking forward to seeing all of the amazing builds you're going to come up with.
Ooh,
AFE2
I like
is
that. Okay, it jumped. Okay, it's jumping towards him. The freeze only lasted for a brief second unless fire thaws him out immediately.
This
That might
summer,
be a
so you
counter.
won't have to wait too long. Be sure to add it to your wish list, and we'll see you in game.
Coming summer. Okay, well, that's everything then from this video. So I'm really excited actually now looking at all the video, all the perks that we have access to. Just the classes themselves. Again, I don't know if they're going to let you quadruple down on specialist, but if they do, that's going to be in some insane stuff. If they don't, that's fine too. I can totally understand. It'll be interesting to see. But I'm actually really excited now after watching this. I that answered a lot of questions. That there's a lot more builds to be cooked up and concocted now for sure whenever this comes out. And the fact that build actually, that kit gives you access to more things the more you play the game and level up other kits is also really sweet. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you're excited for this game as well as much as I am. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!